I guess
Cody
it's really,
says SEC is mid. Change my mind. I don't think Ari, you're going to change his mind.
okay, Andy, first of all, I don't even know if it's as big of a deal anymore because now it looks like the SEC kind of clearing itself out. That there might be a 2-bid league for the ACC. Indiana still seems like it can get in. Like what happened with the SEC today kind of alleviates the thing that was frustrating. The thing that was frustrating to me coming into today was that we were all on our SEC high horse with the cluster of teams that were 6-2, propped up with wins against one another. And every single week that goes by, we get more context that the wins that are actually propping up these teams aren't that impressive to begin with, right? Like Tennessee is going to go to the playoff this year, more likely than not. And their best, most hallmark moment of the year was beating a 9-3 team that just lost at Oklahoma 24-3. Like that, is the best or second best or third best resume, a top 3 resume in the SEC right now. And I just don't know how long we can go propping up teams with signature wins that we perceive as massive because of the brands of the teams without acknowledging that the teams that they're beating aren't very good this year. So that's my thing.
Can I ask a question, though? Can the class guy ask a question?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Is Minnesota good? Because it sure as hell like Penn State. It looked like Penn State had a problem with them today.
He did not lose.
Okay.
The games matter. The losses matter. The results matter. And if they don't, then why do I hate this. Why do we even play the game crap? But it's like, why are we keeping score and records then if they don't matter? At a certain point, the results of the games have to matter. And that's what bothers me.
I'm just playing devil's advocate here, Ari. I'm with you.
If devil's advocate is college football team plays tough game and barely wins on the road, that's not insightful, though. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying it to you, but that's what everybody says. And it's like teams play games all the time that aren't their most impressive outing, but winning and losing matters. And they won. And would I bet my life that Penn State would beat Georgia? Absolutely not. Would I bet my life that Penn State or Indiana would beat Tennessee? Absolutely not. That's not the point of it. The point of it is that we can't politic for a 5 or 6 bid league when there's been nothing in that league with the information that we do have, which is in the ledger, wins and losses, propping that up. And it's not going to happen anymore, thankfully. But are you sure that beating Alabama at home by 7 is the golden ticket that we thought it was a month ago?
We're going to find out because Tennessee's probably going to make the playoff now because this opens up some spots. Yeah.
It's one of the bigger winners of today, but they've lost 2 games at home to 9-3 or 2 games this year to 9-3 teams. And I mean, are we okay with getting manhandled on the road by an Ole Miss team that's lost 3 times now? Ole Miss is good. 3 days ago, I thought Ole Miss had a chance to win the national championship. So I'm not trying to pretend like I'm some sort of know-it-all that knows. I know what talent looks like. You know who I am. I'm the Stars Matter guy. These teams have good players, and if I had to bet money, or my thought would be would Ole Miss be the 2nd or 3rd best team in the Big Ten? I think that's a rational thing to think. And I'm not saying that SEC fans are crazy for thinking that their conference is the best. Their conference has been the best for 2 decades. But my point is when you have a 12-team playoff, you can't just flood half of the playoff with teams in that conference unless there's merit to it. And I just don't see the merit right now. So, I mean, I don't think that's an irrational
I don't think anybody's arguing, but the thing is, you were going to come in guns blazing on this. You don't have to now. Nobody's going to come in arguing that Alabama should make it.
That's true. That's what I'm saying. That's why I'm not even fired up about it, because it kind of took care of itself.
Now Memphis Perry says, "Go damn Big Orange, give Tennessee the respect it deserves," and he paid $10. So I'm going to say, Memphis Perry, thank you for your $10. What a win against UTEP!
Yes,
we're giving you the respect you deserve.
And the thing that's crazy is that throughout the year, Andy, you've been on the show with me. I have had my weeks of falling in love with teams in the SEC. I fell in love with Ole Miss. I have been in and out of love with Tennessee.
We're going to penalty kicks at Auburn.
Is that what's next here?
Yeah, third OT, baby.
I really want A&M to win. I'll admit it, Andy, because I just want that game to be awesome next week.
That game's gonna be awesome whether they win this game or lose this game. Ari.
I know, but I want it to be as juiced up as College Station could possibly be. Like I want it to be if it's 1% worse if they lose today, I don't want it to be 1% worse. I want it to be its absolute best. But yeah, so that's my thing. Like, and we have some more clarity now, and we have teams that are, might get in. Like, I do think that it's possible. I don't know that the Big 12 is a 2-league team. They can't even figure out who their champion is. But like, if the choice is between the loser of the ACC championship game and the 6th or 5th best team in the SEC, like, I might take the ACC champion now. Like, I don't know that I would have a week ago.
Well, the ACC champion's going, so you mean the
ACC championship loser. Yeah, you get what I'm saying. So,
that was probably the loser of the SMU Miami game, presuming they both win next week. Now, that's still a big if after what we saw today. But presuming they both win next week, the loser of the SMU Miami game might have been the biggest winner today. Tennessee probably was the biggest winner today.
Yeah, I guess like at the end of the show, or maybe now, we could just like go through the lists of winners or the biggest winners of the day. And I actually think, funny enough, that the biggest winner of the day is Indiana.
No, I was about to say it, and then I was like, should I say that when they got beat 38-15? Well, but yes, but yes, because this eliminates the argument of, is there some 2-loss SEC team that should get in over 11-1 Indiana? As long as Indiana beats Purdue, they're going to get in now.
Yeah. So like, I think that like Indiana coming into today, was in a position where it had to prove itself, right? Like, and I think that people wanted to see Indiana go toe to toe with Ohio State on the road. And I think they had like 150 yards of offense, and they did not do that, right? So if you think that definitively proves that Indiana is not good enough to be in the playoff, like, I think I understand the rationale behind that, right? Like, there's no getting around it. They got their ass kicked. The thing that bugs me, and the thing that I wrote about, who some people think is stupid, but I thought it wasn't, is that if your bar for getting in or out is being as good as Ohio State a year after Curt Cignetti took over, that's just an unfair bar. Like, there aren't a lot of teams, I think, in college football this year, especially half of the 4 SEC teams that we thought were going in, that could do that. Like, I don't know that I think Alabama would go into Ohio Stadium and win the game. Maybe they would have more than 150 yards of total offense, but that's one game. And there's a lot of teams that have won games that they wish they could have back. So Indiana played in the Big Ten. It's a 12-team field. The bar and the litmus test of whether or not you're a playoff team in this era is not being Ohio State or not being as good as Ohio State. That's what the 12-team thing is. The bar for getting into the 4-team field was being as good as Ohio State, but we changed the bar. So if we change the bar, then Indiana is the 10th or 11th best team in college football, and that's where they belong. And that's what people wanted.
We go to the 4th overtime in Auburn.
So we're doing like this 2-point conversion grab ass thing over here, and I'm trying to talk to you about a point, and I'm locked in over here, and I don't know what to do with myself. I don't know what to do with my hands, Andy.
It's okay. It's okay. That's the beauty of all this. Like, this is so amazing. I guess I can look. Indiana did not need to prove that it's better than Ohio State. It has not gotten many chances to prove that it's better than a good team because it hasn't played a lot of good teams. But they've won all their games, so they're going to get a chance.
And like, I just feel like that
Florida and Oklahoma for making this possible.
And like, and I don't know, and maybe I'm nuts. I just don't know when the protocol became more important than the results of the games. The protocol
it's the second you had human beings picking who went where, which is always.
But protocol is what helps guide you when the records
Ari,
are insane.
I don't know how to break this to you. Everybody wants their team, their tribe to win. They want to believe that their thing is the best and most powerful and greatest thing. So yes, SEC fans are going to continue arguing that 3-loss SEC teams are better than 1-loss Big Ten teams because that is human nature. Big Ten fans are going to argue that because Indiana has won 11, or well, they haven't won 11 yet, but if they beat Purdue, they've won 11 games. That makes them better than an SEC team that only won 9. The real answer is we don't know until they play. And guess what?
I also want you to answer.
You're going to get to see some of them play. What's the question?
Well, I want you to know, like, are you on Team Ari here, or do you think that Indiana is not good enough?
No, they're going to get in. They're fine. They're fine. They're 11-1, or they'll be 11-1. I have no problem with Indiana getting in over a 9-3 Alabama. Auburn scores a 2-point conversion. Now A&M gets the match.
This is insanity. I mean, if Texas A&M loses a game on like European soccer rules right now, like, I don't know what I'm going to do. Is this European soccer? Is this what we're watching? Is this
it's essentially penalty kicks. Yeah, this is essentially penalty kicks.
Was that Cam Coleman? I can't see. It's on the iPad.
It was not. It was not. I believe it's Keandre Lambert-Smith.
I'm obsessed with Cam Coleman, and I'm also obsessed with the fact that the 3 best receivers in college football are freshmen.
Yeah, Cam Coleman had a good night tonight. But this is the Indiana thing. You don't have to worry about it now because Florida and Oklahoma took care of it for you.
Yeah.
And then the good thing about all of this, not just this argument, not just this year, even in the 14 playoff era when we had these arguments, a lot of times the regular season would still take care of it for us.
Mm-hmm.
Like with some weird, and last year it didn't with the Florida State thing. But this year and in past years, you've had these insane, oh boy, A&M's going to get cute.
Oh, grab ass. Oh, they're
going Wildcat. Oh. Philly special. They're going Philly special.
Oh my
He
God.
dropped it. It's over. Auburn wins.
Oh my God.
And they're storming the field at Auburn. Not prematurely like they did at Arizona State.
Oh my God.
It was drawn up perfectly. Just dropped it.
Holy shit. It worked and he dropped it.
So, here are your scenarios for the SEC championship game. Are you ready? If Texas beats Texas A&M, your SEC championship game is Georgia-Texas. If Texas loses to Texas A&M, your SEC championship game is Georgia-Texas A&M. Buddy, we got some stakes on this one, baby.
Okay, so this actually worked out well for next week.
Well, this made it where there wasn't a scenario where A&M gets in, because there was a scenario where if A&M won today,
it made it a playoff game.
Yes, if A&M had won this game, there was a scenario where if LSU beat Oklahoma, A&M could have still gotten in, even if they lost to Texas. Now A&M cannot make the SEC championship game without beating Texas, and Texas cannot make the SEC championship game without beating Texas A&M. We got a playoff game.
So that actually, the thing I was afraid of all night was actually the opposite of what I wanted to have happen.
You should have just been using the website. Yeah.
I mean, so that was like the most bitter, awful way for Alabama or for A&M to lose, but in fact changes nothing about their path.
Oh, it changes it because there was a possibility they could have lost next week and gotten in. Now they have to win next week. They control their own destiny to win the SEC still. Yes.
Next week is going to be insane. It is going to be amazing.
It's going to be amazing.
I honestly could not tell you the last time I was this excited to go watch a football game. I've never seen a game at Kyle Field. This is A&M in Texas after over a decade of waiting. And this is the epitome of what this sport's about.
That's exactly right. Now, what's crazy is A&M can win that game and they still might not make the playoff, but Texas still might. Because A&M could take loss number 4 in the SEC championship game after beating Texas.
Yeah. Dude, that hit him right in the face.
Oh, it could not have been any better. It was perfect.
I legitimately think I would have caught that. And I'm like not a very athletic person.
Well,
Do you think I would have
he
caught
had
that?
some other good plays tonight.
I
No, you
know.
definitely wouldn't have caught that. It would
You
have
don't think I
bounced
would
off
have
your
caught
face
that?
mask. Yeah. I
Picture
definitely would
me.
have not. I would not have caught that. I can tell you right now.
Oh. So I guess
And
Hugh
the
Freeze is employed next year.
Hugh Freeze is employed next year. The good tiebreaker site is back up. So let me double check my math. Auburn beat Texas A&M. Florida beat Ole Miss. LSU beat Vanderbilt. Missouri beat Mississippi State. Oklahoma beat Alabama, and Texas beat Kentucky. So we will say that Texas beats Texas A&M next week. Calculate standings. 500 internal server error. The answer was going to be Texas versus Georgia. And if A&M wins, A&M versus Georgia. I think Georgia's in. Now, we may have to wait till Tuesday afternoon from the SEC to announce that, but we'll see. I think the SEC will be a little more on the ball in the Big Ten in terms of announcing that. So if Georgia's actually in, I think they'll tell us.
I'm just like spinning up here, man.